Morning everyone, it's a very cold Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock and we're back in the garage with the engine on the engine stand. Main goal of today is to get the engine away from the gearbox, drain the gearbox fluid and then get the engine on the engine stand. We can start doing some work on it. It's been sitting on this chair for a while. You can see this chair's now proper knackered, but it was fucked to begin with. Cars out there. But yeah, let's start cracking the bolts around the gearbox and the bell housing and get this gearbox separated from the engine. So if you watch enough YouTube like I do, you're gonna know this little trick to keep your bolts organised for your gearbox and your bell housing. Just draw a circle. Whenever you take a bolt off the engine, you put it roughly where it went on the engine on this bit of cardboard, and you can store this bit of cardboard away in a nice place. So for instance, I've got this bolt here. See if I can get it out. Oh, come on. Trying to do this one-handed is really difficult. This bolt, for instance, when it comes out, it went in front ways, so we're just going to poke it roughly top left hand corner up there, like so. So then we know roughly where it's going to go back in when we put the come to put the gearbox back together. Do that for all the bolts. And then Bob's your uncle, funny's your aunt. You're taking a gearbox off. Maybe. I don't know. Let's give it a go. There it goes. That is a Volkswagen gearbox. Not too heavy actually. Oh my god, it's heavy. Oh my god. What's strange about the clutch and flywheel setup on the old AGG engines is that the flywheel bolts on first and the clutch bolts on front of the flywheel. So we're going to take the to get it on the engine stand, we've got to take the flywheel and the clutch off. So I've got to undo all of these bolts around the clutch plate, and then we can see what we're working with the flywheel. So let's undo all these bolts. Don't know what size they are, but I've got all my sockets up there. So let's get on and do these flywheel bolts, these clutch bolts. My god, the bolts that were holding the fucking plate on were tight as fuck. But yeah, we got the clutch plate off, so you can see it's in there. Pressure plate on the flywheel there, and the clutch plate there. All the bolts are here, and the little spigot ring there. But yeah, now we can attach the engine thingy, whatever it bloody is, to the engine and get it on the stand. Whew! That was more effort than it was worth. After a good hour of fucking about, we finally got everything done. We've got the engine crane free, the engine finally on the stand. I quickly whizzed off the bolts which held the downpipe on off the end of the manifold. Came off quite nicely with the old Ugga Dugger. But yeah, the engine is off the stand, it's off the crane, boy! That is much nicer in home there. So now we can access all the parts we need to of the engine, so you can spin it, move it as we please, start dismantling it as we please. It's got to tidy up these clutch bits, tidy up the overall garage, and yeah, we can move on to the next bit of the Golf. Now in a better place to be able to start doing stuff to it. I might take the intake manifold off and the exhaust manifold off, just so everyone can, just so takes a bit of the weight off. Might take the alternator off. The belts can go. But yeah, engine is off. The hoist is on the stand now. I'm actually going to tackle this intake manifold and exhaust manifold today, so let's get that done. Half the bolts are already snapped because Ollie snapped them, but there's not many bolts holding this exhaust manifold on. There's 2 bolts underneath here, which I need to get to. Know what size they are. That might have to be grounded off. So, managed to get the exhaust manifold off. The inlet manifold is loose. Obviously this isn't a direct injection engine, it's, well, injection behind this cylinder. I don't know how it works exactly. But there's a few more hoses and clips and pipes I've got to get off. I've got to get this off down here. This main harness here. Then this intake manifold can come off. And then we're basically left with a bare bones engine. Get the ignition wires off, label them up. Oil filter off, drain the rest of the oil. Alternator and belts off. And yeah, engine stripping's beginning. And then I've got to tidy up shit in the garage. But yeah, we're making progress. I like it. I took the timing cover off and put the engine to top dead centre. So when we start to take all the belts and shit off, the engine's going to be dead on central. We're not going to be in the middle of the combustion cycle or anything like that. So when we eventually do start taking this engine apart, it will be at top dead centre, which is what you're meant to do, just by that little mark there, which is nice and easy. So yeah, now we can start removing some belts. Got the intake manifold off, obviously. Got the wiring loom out of the way. Just gonna wire up all my cables now. Yeah, it's going pretty decent on this engine teardown. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but let's just continue tearing the engine down. Nearly got most of the bits out. Just getting these last 2 10mm earths off. There goes the engine harness. Keep the 2 bolts for the 2 earths. I've got another earth down here which goes to somewhere. This coolant flange off. There's a flange, coolant flange. Leave those bolts in there for the time being. And then 14. Just push down on the alternator, remove the bolt, alternator can flip up, keep the alternator bolt in your hole, might as well, just got to go back in there. Tighten the one. Got the hammer. Alternator is now free. There comes the alternator. Thread your bolt back in. Alternator retaining spring, that's important. Over the alternator, we got one engine mount there, which we're going to take off now. That bracket's off. Move back over to this side. We're going to get this alternator thing off. Box. This should come off now. Now we can see our water pump there, and the power steering pump that sits down here. Probably get the power steering pump off. It is literally 2 bolts. Oh. Oh. Oh my god. Oh. Now that is a power steering pump that was on. Woo. Oh my. I think I'm going to call that a day on gearbox and engine stripping. As you can see, we've got most of the manifold, intake, alternator, power steering pump, ignition leads, wiring harness, downpipe, engine stand, gearbox off. All we've got to do next time is continue stripping this side of the engine, water pump off when I can figure out a way to stop it from spinning, because it just freely spins at the moment. And then timing, ignition cover off, head off, then we're left, and then we can inspect the life of this engine, because it's done 270,000 miles, and it'd just be interesting to see what it's like. But yeah, I hope you did like this video. I'm going to tidy up this abundance of crap now I've left in the garage, and I shall see you on the next one. Adios.